To West Africa now, which is literally being washed away. Ghana's coastline is being eroded by the ocean. This is a natural process, but it's being made worse by human activity, climate change, and more severe weather patterns. For communities on the coast, the lack of sea defenses and the increasing wind and wave activity mean many Ghanaians live precariously close to an unpredictable neighbor, the Gulf of Guinea. DW reporter Isaac Kaledzi visited one part of Ghana's Volta region that may soon be gone.
Bare bones of the palm trees on the shoreline show the last remnants of a village under siege from the sea. Fuveme in Ghana's Volta region could soon disappear forever. Last November, the ocean waves crashed into this community, washing away homes and livelihoods. The floods displaced hundreds of people. Many families are still homeless. Knowledge Dawanu was forced to flee by the rising water. He's back in the house where he grew up, the place that was his home for decades. Dawanu was driven from his four walls by the waves that swept through the village. Still traumatized, he is pleading with the government for help.
Now this disaster is happening all the places, but the most difficult one is the Fuvema here, because we share the boundary with the river Volta and so forth and so on. So they have to protect us. If not, we will die.
The surging waters mean the people of Fuveme have given up any hope of rebuilding. For hundreds of families, their only shelter is makeshift structures built of palm fronds. They can't afford more expensive materials and fear what little they have could end up washed away by the ocean when the next floods come. And come they will, as they have for decades now. Fuveme used to be a prosperous fishing village, but now the sea is just a few meters away from its ruins. As sea levels have risen, the lack of coastal defenses has let the waves take the land. Joel Deck is an environmentalist and researcher into coastal erosion. He says climate change has contributed significantly to the rising waters along Ghana's shoreline. Destructive waves have become more frequent. He fears that they are also a threat for communities behind the coastline.
The space between the lagoon and the sea is being narrowed. The sea is about to enter. The last tidal waves that occurred, the sea went into the lagoon. The waves went through town, the remaining town, and went into the lagoon. A sign that in few years to come, the sea may take over those places. So there is a great danger ahead.
Defenses like these are being built to protect some communities. But the government says there is not enough money to build seawalls to protect everyone. Raphael Agbanavo is the local representative for this district. He's inspecting the damage done to Fuveme. Dawanu tells him he feels let down by the government. Agbanavo admits more needs to be done to protect the community and the environment.
It's not a matter of even protecting the people per se, but looking at the natural environment. The vegetation, water bodies are being destroyed by the sea. Because we have a lagoon back of this community. We have mangrove back of this community. Coconut trees, we lost as many as 7,000.
There is only the shell left standing of Knowledge Dawanu childhood home. He and thousands like him will have to find new ones, with no certainty that they won't lose them again to the waves consuming Ghana's coastline.
For more on this, I'm now joined by Professor Kwesi Pianinado. He's a director, Institute for Environment and Sanitation Studies, University of Ghana. Hello and welcome to the program. Professor, you've researched the development of Ghana's coasts from historic records since the late 19th century. What developments did you discover over the years?
Thank you very much, and hello to your cherished listeners and viewers. What we identified is that erosion is not new. It's something that has been there for a long time. But then the challenge is that development has drawn so close to the shoreline and therefore interacting with the natural dynamics of the system. And because of the interaction between human development and the natural dynamics of the shoreline, that is what is creating the problems, and hence the enhanced impact of erosion on communities and then people around.
How bad has it gotten?
It has become extremely bad in the sense that we have lots of people now being affected. We have several areas of the coastal communities also being affected, especially the vulnerable areas. And it's really affecting the livelihoods of people who live within the coastal communities, and by extension also affecting the economy, because once the livelihood of people are affected, then the economy is also affected.
So there are all sorts of factors at play here, but what is the main driving force behind coastal erosion?
Several factors, as you rightly said, can be attributed to coastal erosion. They are natural factors and then also human-induced factors. The natural factors, there isn't much you can do about it, but the human-induced factors are what we can do something about it. What we observed is that in recent times, the intensity and severity has increased as a result of storm surge being driven by climate change. And then we also have increasing activities with regards to intensive wave activities. And then we also identified the increasing sea level rise, which has also resulted in some of these activities. So these are some of the natural factors driven by climate change. Well, somebody can also say that climate change is human-induced. Well, it's true, but these are some of the natural factors that are driving erosion along our coast. In terms of human activities, we can talk about sand winning, although there is a ban on sand winning, but it is not being enforced. So people indiscriminately win sand on the beaches. We also have destruction of coastal vegetation, and these coastal vegetation are very vital in naturally fighting erosion. So these are some of the factors that I can easily talk about. And we can also talk about sedimentation. Once you have influenced the sediment dynamics, the sediments, the sand that are along the shoreline, once you influence the sediment dynamics, then you are bound to have some of these activities occurring.
So clearly something should be done about it. We've heard criticism of the government's coastal management plan. Can it help at all, or what's the way forward?
Yes, definitely something needs to be done about it, but the way we go about it is critical. Presently, the government is using hard engineering approach, where they try to manage erosion by what I call fighting erosion. So they put, hard structures like sea walls and then groins. And the whole idea is to intercept sediment and help to build beaches in areas where they are eroded. But then as you trap sediment to build beaches, you deprive the downdrift side of sediment. So it's like robbing Peter to pay Paul. In trying to solve a problem here, you create a bigger problem downstream. So the method that the government has been using over the years are not sustainable. So we need to rethink as a country how we can effectively manage erosion, but not fight erosion.
Okay, Professor Kwesi Appiah-Nenado from the University of Ghana. Thank you very much for the insights.
It's a pleasure. Thank you.